Alas, poor Doug, we knew you well. In fact, we knew the Beyond the Gate surgeon so well that we were not at all surprised when he died on the show's Thursday, September 25th episode. Let's face it, the man's been living on borrowed time pretty much since the show began. Doug's gambling was just about out of control from day one. His debts were staggering, and his marriage with Vanessa was rocky at best. In fact, just as he was taken out, she was off in Puerto Rico, whipping her wedding ring off and hooking up with casino owner and mobster Joey. You know, the man who declared Doug a dead man walking. And before taking the gambling addict out, Joey was all too happy to, innocently, let his voice be heard while Vanessa was on the phone with her husband, so Doug knew exactly what was going down in Puerto Rico. That just sent the doc right over the edge, downing more drinks as he gambled away. He finally did win a big pile of cash at blackjack, but we've a feeling they were just reeling him in. Because once he got that money, his vision blurred. Crooked cop Marcel swiped it and told him he wouldn't need it where he was going. The next thing we knew, Jacob was calling Vanessa in Puerto Rico to tell her that her husband had died in a car accident, and that, we thought, might be a good thing. What if Doug, knowing he was in deep trouble, faked his death to set up Joey? What if Jacob was in on it to try to flush the mobster and his crooked partner out? What if… But no, none of that looks to be true. Instead, Marcel really did get to him. At the end of the episode, he called Joey to let him know that, as far as the rest of the world was concerned, Doug's death was an accident. It doesn't get much clearer than that. It looks like Vanessa really is a widow, and Joey gets to do all the comforting he wants. There could be more going on here than we realize. But as far as we can tell, Doug is indeed dead. Vanessa's trio to Orgasm Town, Puerto Rico with Joey takes a dark turn when she returns, calls from Jacob, and learns that Doug was killed in a car accident. Vanessa crumbles, worried about how the twins will react to this devastating news. Weeping that she was in bed with another man when her husband died, Vanessa has a moment of clarity and asks if Joey had anything to do with the accident. While working on the accident report, Jacob questions why Doug was speeding down the road drunk when he could have called a rideshare. "Drunk makes you stupid," shrugs Marcel later. As Jacob leaves to investigate a crime, Marcel calls Joey to say everything went smoothly. As far as the world is concerned, he says, Doug's death was an accident. Still hungover, Dany and Andre discuss getting a divorce. She wants to make sure her family isn't rocked by this latest scandal. Even as Nicole is sharing with Vernon and his wife a pic the Anita impersonator posted on social media. Nicole calls Andre and asks him to meet her at Vernon and Anita's place. There, he's put on blast by the family, all of whom say they are disappointed. They expect Dany to do dumb stuff, but not Andre. He tries taking the credit/blame for what went down and then defends Dany. Nicole, however, says Dany's not the only one who's had her life blown up. "The rest of us would like a break from the endless drama," spits out the shrink. Bill mansplains to Haley that women have a tougher time moving on than women, which is why Dany isn't likely to get involved with anyone soon. About 3 seconds later, she shows him the post about Dany and Andre's wedding. Haley is obviously delighted, but Bill is livid. How could Dany do this to their daughters? He fumes. Haley, however, fears Bill is more upset about Dany having moved on. Bill insists he can't spend all his time reassuring his current wife every time the former title holder acts out. And yet, 2 minutes later, Bill is at Dany's place demanding answers. Hypocritically, he calls her out for having married a younger man. "My days of explaining myself to you are over," says Dany. "Your child bride has to deal with your mess, I don't, so why don't you go home to her? I'm sure she's waiting for someone to slice bananas into her frosted flakes." They hurl accusations at one another, with him insisting she get her marriage annulled. And although Andre just assured the family that's the plan, Dany's reaction to Bill's demand is to suggest she and Andre remain hitched a little longer. Joey and Vanessa turn up the heat in Puerto Rico, even as he's receiving texts updating him on just how badly Doug's losing at the casino. Vanessa has somehow convinced herself that cheating with Joey far from home is magical. But even she seems to balk when he asks her to take off her wedding ring. "I want you to be here, completely, with me," he says. with no reminders of the life they've left behind. But she can't bring herself to do so. A call from Doug interrupts, but she refuses to be his designated emotional lifeguard. He voices his regrets, and they appear to be on the verge of reconnecting when Joey accidentally reveals that he's with Vanessa. Doug flips out about her being with that bargain basement Tony Soprano. This latest argument sends Doug back to the blackjack table as Vanessa slips off her wedding ring and into Joey's bed. Doug manages to win a big pile of cash while getting ever drunker, but at episode's end, Marcel takes the money, saying Doug won't need it where he's going. Is the crooked cop about to do away with Vanessa's hubby? Over at Ashley and Dererick's place, she makes the baffling decision to tell her already insecure beau that Naomi questioned their engagement. Why, Ashley? Dererick's about to break out that ring and propose when she spills a beer and worries the stain will set. When Ashley runs upstairs to help their neighbor, Dererick drops the ring. Fearing Ashley will find it, he struggles to stand. She unexpectedly returns and sees the ring on the floor. Dererick proposes while keeping her in the dark about the progress he's made. Naomi and Jacob run into Marcel at Orphe Jean's, and things between the cops get tense quickly. Later, the married pair chat with June about her conversation with Samantha, and, upon returning home, Naomi discovers her rings are missing. She freaks out, tearing their apartment apart and worrying, for no good reason, that this is a bad omen where their marriage is concerned. As for June, she has a lovely conversation with a customer, unaware that it is Ted. She finds Naomi's rings in the restroom and calls Naomi. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates on Friday, September 26, 2025. Beyond the Gates gets dark again, Fairmont Crest is rocked again, and in Friday's episode, Nicole gets an update and consoles a friend. Nicole's bestie, Vanessa, needs a shoulder to cry on and the comfort of familiar faces as her trip to Puerto Rico with Joey Armstrong is cut short by the distressing news of Doug's death in a car accident. Here are some names that haven't had a lot of screen time together in a while. Jan and Mona, two besties who used to be friends with Leslie Thomas, until they discovered that she was just using them to get close to the right people and exact her revenge on Ted and the entire Dupree family. In Friday's episode, Jan and Mona discuss their former friend's sudden windfall. Neither can believe that such good luck could come to someone as truly awful as Leslie. Let's hope they don't try to restore the friendship just to score some free cash and gifts. So far, Eva hasn't really benefited from her mother winning big in the game of life once she discovered that she was now filthy rich beyond her wildest dreams. Leslie sure likes spending her new fortune, as she's not exactly going to run out of money. And in Friday's episode, Leslie shocks Eva with a big gift. This should be good to see. How will Eva react to having the money spent on her? Doug ran his mouth one too many times, and it caught up with him. It was a dangerous game he and Vanessa were playing, and it could only have ended one way. As Joey would say, the house always wins, and someone always loses. This time, the price was steep, the stakes were high, and the cost was way too much. In Friday's episode, Joey issues a grave warning, and it needs to be heeded. Dererick is insistent that no one tell Ashley that he has regained some feeling in his legs, and so far, Jacob is holding that secret for him and his physical therapist, Shanice. In Friday's episode, Shanice continues to conceal some major information. But how long can she remain silent? Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, September 25th, hint at some major moments. Anita Dupree and Vernon Dupree deal with another crisis, while Jacob Hawthorne has some shocking news. Plus, Bill Hamilton and Haley Hamilton deal with some emotional turmoil. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, September 25th, suggest Anita and Vernon will struggle as they'll be damage control over yet another crisis. Could this be about Dany Dupree marrying Andre Richardson, or is this about an entirely different issue? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Across town, being a police officer often means you need to give some bad news now and again, so Jacob certainly has his work cut out for him on the September 25th show. The BTG preview for this week shows Jacob at the station calling Vanessa McBride while she's in Puerto Rico with Joey Armstrong, and he has something important to tell her. Will this clip play out during tomorrow's show? Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday reveal. There will be some emotional turmoil between Bill and Haley in the aftermath of the shocking news that hits Fairmont Crest. BTG fans may recall that Doug McBride visited Bill last week looking for help to bring down Joey. Of course, Bill went straight to Joey with this intel, and now it looks like Doug is gone. Haley was at the mansion when Doug showed up, so when she learns the news about the former surgeon, she'll feel terrible. But will she connect the dots about what happened to him? Bill certainly will. And it looks like the Hamiltons may both feel terrible about how things ended up for poor Doug. Here are your spoilers for Beyond the Gates. On Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Expect a big shakeup in Fairmont Crest soap fans. This week promised to be big, and it's delivering. Dany and Andre had a drunken wedding, and Joey and Marcel are up to no good. That's clear. In Thursday's episode, 2 major revelations rock Fairmont Crest, which causes Jacob to deliver some earth-shattering news. The only people we see Jacob delivering news to are either Vanessa or Dererick, and bets are on Vanessa being the one about to have her world rocked. Vanessa will take the news from Jacob while in bed with Mr. Joey Armstrong, who doesn't look at all surprised to see this happening, as if he had organized it. If that's the case, what has happened to Doug? One more day left in the week, and we know what that means. Friday cliffhangers, our favorite day of the week. With these big revelations hitting Fairmont Crest in Thursday's episode, Anita and Vernon plunge themselves into damage control mode. This is a situation typical for the Dupree elders at this point, and they do what they do best. Keeping the family together while they heal is their skill set, and they do it well. Meanwhile, Bill and Haley are also forced to deal with the emotional fallout. Something big is coming this way, and we are not ready for it. Beyond the Gates is priming us for the biggest storylines ever, and we are just getting warmed up. It all starts with Jacob delivering some earth-shattering news, and the story unfolds from there. We still have unanswered questions regarding Haley and Randy, and how they know each other, and whether their master plan involves Bill and his money or something else entirely. Strap in, soap fans, as we're once again close to Friday, and another big finish, just like only this soap can deliver. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Friday, September 26th, 2025, reveal that Leslie will try to sweeten up Eva. She surprises her with a gift. But is there a motive behind it? Leslie shocks Eva with a gift. Will she accept her mother's kind gesture? Or will she question it? There could be an ulterior motive behind Leslie's gesture. We're never quite sure if Leslie is being genuine with her feelings. Sadly, she's manipulated her daughter for years, and Eva knows that. Nicole will get an update that causes her to console a friend in need. Who could it be that needs help this time? As we already know, shocking revelations are about to come out in Fairmont Crest. Speaking of friends, Jan and Mona will discuss their former friend's sudden windfall. Is this the same person? Or could it be someone else? More than one person will suffer a major blow this week. Joey issues some grave warnings. Sounds like someone is about to end up in trouble. But who could it be? Does this have something to do with Doug, with whom he's been dueling? Meanwhile, Shanice continues to conceal some major information. Does this have something to do with Dererick, who is keeping a big secret from Ashley? He's been lying to her about his recovery. What will happen once she discovers the truth? Will their wedding plans get called off? While a certain bigoted busboy got what was coming to him earlier this year, that was merely a plot development in a story that had more to do with Martin, Vernon, and the Duprees. In the Thursday, September 25th episode of Beyond the Gates, Jacob was forced to deliver the news about a death that hit Vanessa hard, leading to the show's first big death. Meanwhile, Dany may have come up with a new way to get under Bill's skin. As far as we know, Dr. Doug McBride is dead. Apparently, he was in a car accident and a flask was discovered. He was heading down a highway and solo crashed into a tree. The car caught on fire. That flask meant Doug had been drinking, but are there enough remains for the medical examiner or forensic pathologist to determine if there was anything else in his system? Joey and Marcel may have successfully gotten rid of Doug, and there won't be anything that could blow back on them. Sure, Vanessa knows her husband was gambling, probably at Joey's casino, and the audience knows that Marcel may have helped along Doug's drunken spiral. But who will ever find out that they were behind Doug's descent? Nobody, unless Joey or Marcel talks, and that's not likely to happen anytime soon. So here we go. Doug died, and Vanessa is devastated. And we still haven't met Vanessa and Doug's kids. Let's hope that will be changing soon. They're going to want to be there for their mom and to say a proper goodbye to their father, right? Let's hope we get to meet the twins, Donald and Deanna, soon. And what will a mourning Vanessa look like? Will she stick with Joey, or will she need to grieve on her own or with her friends and family who know her? Joey thinks that it'll be easy street for him and Vanessa from here on out, now that he has her to himself. But is that the way it's going to play out? Meanwhile, Jacob has that look on his face again, the one that says he doesn't want to take things at face value, so he may try to do some digging of his own. And that won't be good for Joey or Marcel. Score! That's what Dany said after Bill walked out of her house, so Dany was ready to annul her marriage to Andre just like that. And then Bill wasted no time laying into her in such a hypocritical way. He yelled at her for marrying someone on a whim who was half her age, as if he didn't burn down his family doing the same thing. Of course, he said he was worried about what this news would do to their daughters, but we know better. But Dany didn't see it as being torn down or criticized. She loved the reaction it got out of Bill, and she saw that as an opportunity. Instead of bringing an end to her quickie marriage to Andre, she wants to prolong it a little bit more. So does that mean Andre and Dany will stay married for the foreseeable future because she wants to make Bill jealous? Will Andre go for that? He seems to catch on to what Dany's true intentions are pretty quickly. And how will Haley react to that? She's already unhappy that Bill hightailed it over to Dany's instead of going to work. What did you think about Dany, Andre, and Bill? How about Anita, Vernon, and Nicole ambushing Andre like that? How will Vanessa and Joey play out now that Doug isn't around? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. There was a bit of a theme during the Wednesday, September 24th episode of Beyond the Gates. Wedding and engagement rings were at the heart of the drama, and that didn't always mean something good. This marriage is running on empty. Vanessa is in Puerto Rico with Joey Armstrong. Doug is at Joey's casino, gambling for his life and drinking his feelings simultaneously. He's alone and has nothing else going for him. In a call to Vanessa, Doug realized that things between him and his wife had irreparably changed. He had nothing much to live for, so why not gamble everything? His bad luck finally turned into good luck at the blackjack table. But ultimately, with Marcel around, we don't think that good luck will last. As Doug twisted his wedding ring while gambling, he didn't take it off at all, unlike his wife. On a high-pressure vacation with Joey, he urged Vanessa to remove Doug's ring. He didn't want Doug in the room at all because, for the moment, it felt like Doug's presence was there. Vanessa was reluctant, but eventually, after that dire phone call between husband and wife, she did it. She took off the ring, which pretty much cemented the end of their marriage. Also, Vanessa refused to believe that Joey purposely sabotaged that phone call by cluing Doug into the fact that Vanessa was with him. At the casino, Marcel at one point started making Doug's drinks, and by the end of the evening, he was even more wasted. Marcel started taking Doug's earnings back and told him that where he was going, he didn't need money. Where is Doug going? What did Marcel do to him? While the teaser said that Naomi would suffer a heartbreaking loss, it was only for a minute. She lost her wedding and engagement rings, and she really took it hard. Jacob assured her that they would either find the rings or they'd get new ones, which didn't sit well with her. Thankfully, June came to the rescue when she found the rings in the bathroom at Orphe Jean's. She realized they were Naomi's and returned them to her. Naomi and Jacob were beyond happy, and they got a little frisky. However, we can't help but think that almost losing her rings is a sign that this solid couple may experience trouble in the future. Before June remembered that those rings were Naomi's, she and Ted had a little bit of a flirtation, but also an interesting conversation about wedding rings and marriages. Ted kept twisting his ring too, but he couldn't bring himself to take it off even though he knew he should. His marriage to Nicole is over, but he still keeps holding on to something. A ring played a part in Ashley and Derrick's story too. Naomi and Jacob were gone, leaving Derrick to try to figure out the perfect time to give Ashley the ring to solidify their engagement. Finally, when Ashley left to help a neighbor, Derrick had the ring and dropped it. Because of his injuries, he couldn't quite get out of his wheelchair to pick it up. When she returned, she spotted the ring on the floor and was happy to see it. So, the engagement ring is now on her finger, but it's all based on the lie that Dererick is keeping from her. He has feelings in his legs, and if he were just to tell her, he could spin it in a way that would make Ashley happy for Dererick. The longer he keeps quiet, the worse things are for himself and for Ashley. What are your thoughts on what happened in Wednesday's episode? Let us know in the comments. The Beyond the Gates spoilers for Thursday, September 25th, 2025, tease two revelations that are about to shake up Fairmont Crest. Jacob will have to share some shocking news while Anita and Vernon do damage control. The Duprees can't catch a break. Anita and Vernon will have to deal with another family crisis that will tear them apart. Nothing can be kept safe beyond these gates, so the two will have to plunge themselves into damage control mode. What is the devastating news that they will get this time around? Can their family stay together after what's been revealed? This episode will be a doozy. Fairmont Crest will be hit with a pair of shocking revelations. Jacob will have to deliver some earth-shattering news to someone. Who is he spilling the tea on? Does it have something to do with Dererick, who's been keeping a secret? Meanwhile, Bill and Haley will also find themselves involved in drama of some kind. Now, they will have to deal with the emotional fallout. Will their marriage be strong enough to last? Will Dany's wedding to Andre send Bill running back to her? Fairmont Crest can't escape the family drama. These revelations will have everyone questioning everything, including their loyalty and their relationships. This could even shake up the status quo. Beyond the Gates is keeping fans on their toes again. Every week there are changes to the cast, and this one is no different. We've got a whole bunch of familiar faces stepping back onto the canvas, and not a single exit in sight. So, who's popping up between September 22nd and 26th? First up, Jasmine Burke is back as June. Fans will remember she was revealed as the mother of Samantha and Tyrell, which caused all sorts of shockwaves earlier this year. This time, spoilers say June is going to bring a softer touch and play a more supportive role. Jason Graham also returns as Douglas McBride. His gambling habit and broken marriage to Vanessa have already caused enough chaos, but he's not done yet. Douglas might put even more pressure on Vanessa about her cheating. And of course, Naja Jackson is back as Samantha. She'll be leaning on Martin for help this week, which is only going to make Smitty even more furious. With June back in the mix, Samantha's moves could spark some serious family fireworks. There's plenty more. Daryl W. Handy shows up again as Detective Marcel Malone. He'll be around when Doug gets himself into trouble at the casino's private poker room. Ernestine Johnson is back as Shanice, still holding on to some major secrets that she refuses to let slip. Karen Kendrick will appear as Mona, sharing gossip with Jan about Leslie, because what's a soap without a little backroom chatter? John Lindstrom also returns as Joey Armstrong. He's set to propose a vacation with Vanessa, tell her to ditch her wedding ring, and give someone a stern warning. That's a lot to pack into 1 week. And finally, Jerry Tubbs pops back up as Jan Morgan. She'll likely be seen with Ashley and Mona, though what she's up to exactly is still under wraps. Here's the best part: nobody's going anywhere. Usually, weeks like this come with at least one big exit, but this time it's all arrivals. That means even more drama, more characters crossing paths, and more storylines getting tangled up. With June offering support, Douglas making demands, Samantha stirring things up, and Joey pushing Vanessa into a corner, this week is going to be packed. And with no departures, the stage is more crowded than ever. Stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for all the latest comings and goings from Beyond the Gates. Beyond the Gates spoilers for Wednesday, September 24th. Tease heartbreak and heroics in Fairmont Crest. Naomi Hawthorne is about to face a painful loss, and June will step in to make a brave move. The twist is whether that move will truly save the day or end up making things even more complicated. Naomi has been carrying a lot of weight lately, and it's about to come crashing down. She's always been strong in the courtroom, but this time the pain feels deeply personal. Fans are already asking if Naomi is about to lose someone close to her, and the thought alone has people on edge. The show has been hinting at a death in Fairmont Crest for weeks, and Doug McBride's name keeps coming up. If Doug really is the one in danger, then Naomi's heartbreak could be tied directly to what happens to him. Tuesday's episode added even more fuel when Joey Armstrong pulled Marcel Malone into a shady job. If Joey really sent Marcel after Doug, then things could explode quickly and Naomi will be caught in the fallout. While Naomi braces for heartbreak, June is about to take a bold step. Spoilers say she will be the one to save someone in a dangerous moment, though it's not clear how much it will cost her. If she crosses paths with Doug at the wrong time and steps in, her bravery could change everything. Still, fans worry she might end up paying a heavy price for her courage. Others believe this could mark the start of June becoming a true force in Fairmont Crest. Either way, she won't come out of this untouched. The action doesn't stop in Fairmont Crest. Over in Puerto Rico, romance is heating up for Joey and Vanessa McBride. They've already planned a getaway, and now it looks like their relationship could move to the next level. The problem is, Vanessa is still married to Doug. Any step forward with Joey will throw more fuel on an already fiery storyline. Soap fans know anything can happen, and this move could bring shockwaves back home, just as Naomi and June face their own turning points. Naomi's heartbreak, June's brave stand, and Joey's risky romance. There's a lot to look forward to. Stay tuned to Soap Opera Daily for all the latest Beyond the Gates spoilers, updates, and breaking news.